हेलो एवरीवन वेलकम टू नीट प्रेप जहाँ पे आप अभी ऑडियो बुक सुनने वाले हैं क्लास 11th एनसीईआरटी बायोलॉजी चैप्टर 5 मॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ फ्लावरिंग प्लांट। इसके पहले आप सुने थे प्लांट किंगडम का, बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन का एंड लिविंग वर्ल्ड का। ये इस चैनल पे हो चुका है तो आप रेफर कर सकते हैं और आगे आप चैप्टर बता सकते हैं कौन सा चैप्टर का हम ऑडियो बुक रिकॉर्ड करें। ऐसे इसके अगले चैप्टर जो हम सोच रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं बॉटनी एक साथ खत्म हो जाए, तो हम चाहते हैं एनाटोमी ऑफ फ्लावरिंग प्लांट। लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट्स आपको कौन सा चैप्टर चाहिए। और अभी मैं लेट हूँ 2 दिन, क्योंकि यू नो व्हाट हैपेंड कि मैंने मतलब सब कुछ रिकॉर्ड करके रखा था, सब कुछ करके रखा, और उसके बाद यू नो व्हाट, दैट वीडियो गॉट deleted by me by mistake, that got deleted, एंड उसके बाद या फिर लेट हो रहा है तो लीव इट। वो डिलीट हो गया तो क्या, दोबारा रिकॉर्ड कर लेते हैं। तो या with this start with the chapter morphology of flowering plant. The wide range in the structure of a higher plant will never fail to fascinate us. Even though the angiosperms show such a large diversity in external structure or morphology, they are all characterized by presence of a root, stem, leaves, flower, and fruit. In chapter 2 and 3, we talked about classification of plants based on morphological and other characteristics. For any successful attempt at classification and an understanding any higher plant, or for that matter any living organism, we need to know standard technical term and standard definitions. We also need to know about the possible variation in different parts found as adaptation of the plant to their environment. Example, adaptation to various habitat for protection, climbing, storage, etc. If you pull out any vid, you will see that all of them have a root, stem, and leaves. They may be bearing flower and fruit. The underground part of the flowering plant is the root system, while the portion above the ground part are the shoot system. 5.1 The root. In majority of the dicotyledonous plants, the direct elongation of the radicle lead to the formation of primary root, which grow inside the soil. It bear lateral root of several order that are referred to as secondary, tertiary, etc. roots. The primary root and its branches constitute the taproot system as seen in the mustard plant. In monocotyledonous plant, the primary root is short-lived and is replaced by large number of roots. These roots originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system, as seen in the wheat plant. In some plants like grasses, monstera, and the banyan tree, root arise from the part of the plant other than the radicle and the adventitious roots. The main function of the root system are absorption of water and mineral from the soil, providing a proper anchorage to the plant parts, storing of reserve food material, and synthesis of plant growth regulators. Reasons of the root. The root is covered at the apex by thimble-like structure called the root cap. It protects the tender apex of the root as it makes its way through the soil. A few millimeters above the root cap is the region of the meristematic activity. The cells of this region are very small, thin walled, and with dense protoplasm. They divide repeatedly. The cells proximal to this region undergo the rapid elongation and the enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. This region is called the region of elongation. The cell of the elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. Hence, this zone proximal to the region of elongation is called the region of maturation. From this region, some of epidermal cell form very fine and delicate thread-like structure called root hair. These root hair absorb water and mineral from the soil. 5.2. The stem. What are the features that distinguish a stem from a root? The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flower, and fruit. It develops from the plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. The stem bears nodes and internode. The region of the stem where the leaves are born and are called nodes, while internodes are the portion between two nodes. The stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. Stem is generally green when young and later often become woody and dark brown. The main function of the stem is spreading out branches bearing leaves, flower, and fruit. It conducts water, mineral, and photosynthesis. Some stem perform the function of storage of food, support, protection, and vegetative propagation. 5.3. The leaf. The leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure borne on the stem. It develops at the node and bear a bud in its axil. The axillary bud later develop into a branch. Leaves originate from shoot apical meristem and are arranged in an acropedal order. The most important vegetative organ for photosynthesis. A typical leaf consists of three main parts: leaf base, petiole, and lamina. The leaf is attached to the stem by the leaf base and may bear two lateral small leaf-like structures called stipules. In monocotyledons, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. In some leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called the pulvinus. The petiole help hold the blade to light. Long, thin, flexible petioles allow the leaf blade to flutter in wind, thereby cooling the leaf and bringing fresh air to the leaf surface. The lamina or the leaf blade is the green expanded part of the leaf with vein and ventlets. There is usually a middle prominent vein which is known as midrib. Vein provide rigidity to the leaf blade and act as a channel of transport for water, mineral and food material. The shape, margin, apex, surface, and extent of incision of lamina varies in leaves. 5.3.1 Venation. The arrangement of vein and veinlet in the lamina of the leaf is termed as venation. When the veinlet form a network, the venation is termed as reticulate. When the veins run parallel to each other within a lamina, the venation is termed as parallel. Leaves of dicotyledonous plant generally possesses reticulate venation, while parallel venation is the characteristics of most monocotyledons. 5.3.3 Type of leaves. A leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire or when incised, the incision do not touch the midrib. When the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into number of leaflet, the leaf is called compound. A bud is present in the axil of the petiole in both simple and compound leaf, but not in the axil of leaflet of the compound leaf. The compound leaf may be of two types. In a pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on a common axis, the rachis, which represent the midrib of the leaf as a neem. In palmately compound leaf, the leaflets are attached at a common point, that is, at the tip of the petiole, as in silk cotton. 5.3.3 Phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch. This is usually of three types: alternate, opposite, and whorled. In alternate type of phyllotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in alternate manner, as in China rose, mustard, and sunflower. In opposite type, a pair of leaves arise at each node and lie opposite to each other, as in calotropis and guava plant. If more than two leaves arises at a node and form a whorl, it is called whorled, as in Alstonia. 5.4 The inflorescence. Flower is modified shoot wherein the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. Internode do not elongate and the axis get condensed. The apex produce different kind of floral appendages laterally like the successive node instead of leaves. When a shoot tip transforms into a flower, it is always solitary. The arrangement of flower on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Depending on whether the apex gets developed into a flower or continue to grow, two major types of inflorescence are defined: racemose and cymose. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow. The flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession. In cymose type of inflorescence, the main axis terminates in a flower, hence is limited in growth. The flowers are borne in a basipetal order. 5.5 The flower. The flower is the reproductive unit in the angiosperms. It is meant for sexual reproduction. A typical flower has four different kind of whorls arranged successfully on the swollen end of the stalk or pedicel called thalamus or receptacles. These are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are calyx and corolla are accessories organ, while androecium and gynoecium are reproductive organ. In some flower like lily, the calyx and corolla are not distinct and are termed as a perianth. When a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, it is bisexual. A flower having either only stamen or only carpel is unisexual. In symmetry, the flower may be actinomorphic, radial symmetry, or zygomorphic, bilateral symmetry. When a flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center, it is said to be actinomorphic. Example: mustard, datura, chili. When it can be divided into two similar halves only in one particular vertical plane, it is zygomorphic. Example: pea, gulmohar, bean, cassia. A flower is asymmetric, irregular, if it cannot be divided into two similar halves by any vertical plane passing through the center, as in kana. A flower may be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous when the floral appendages are in multiple of 3, 4, or 5 respectively. Flower with bracts, reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicel, are called bractate, and those without bracts, ebractate. Based on the position of calyx, corolla, androecium, and androecium in respect of the ovary on the thalamus, the flowers are described as hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. In hypogynous flower, the gynoecium occupy the highest position while the other part are situated below it. The ovary in such flower is said to be superior. Example: mustard, China rose, and brinjal. If gynoecium is situated in the center and other part of the flower are located on the rim of the thalamus, almost at the same level. It is called perigynous. The ovary here is said to be half inferior. Example: plum, rose, peach. In epigynous flower, the margin of the thalamus grow upward, enclosing the ovary completely and getting fused with it. The other part of flower arises above the ovary. Hence, the ovary is said to be inferior, as in flower of guava and cucumber, and the ray floret of sunflower. 5.1.1 Part of a flower. Each flower normally has four floral whorls, which is calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. 5.5.1.1 Calyx. The calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower, and are the members are sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like, and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gamosepalous, sepal united, or polysepalous, sepal free. 5.5.1.2 Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insect of pollination. Like calyx, corolla may also be gamopetalous, petal united, or polypetalous, petal free. The shape and color of the corolla vary greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, well-shaped, funnel-shaped, or wheel-shaped. Estivation. The mode of arrangement of sepal or petal in a flower bud with respect to the other member of the same whorl is known as estivation. The main type of estivation are valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. When sepal or petal in a whorl just touch one another at the margin without overlapping, as in calotropis, it is said to be valvate. If one margin of the appendages overlap that of the next one, and so on, as in China rose, ladyfinger, and cotton, it is called twisted. If the margin of sepal or petal overlap one another, but not in any particular direction, as in cassia and gulmohar, the estivation is called imbricate. In pea and bean flower, there are 5 petals. The largest standard overlap the two lateral petal wings, which in turn overlap the two smallest interior petals keel. This type of estivation is known as vexillary or papilionocy. 5.5.1.3 Androecium. Androecium is composed of stamen. Each stamen, which represents the male reproductive organ, consists of a stalk or a filament and an anther. Each anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has two chambers. The pollen sac. The pollen grain are produced in pollen sac. A sterile stamen is called staminode. Stamen of flower may be united with other member such as petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to petals, they are epipetalous as in brinjal or epiphyllous when attached to the perianth as in the flower of lily. The stamen in a flower may either remain free, polyandrous, or may be united in varying degrees. The stamen may be united in one bundle or one bunch, monoadelphous, as in China rose, or two bundle, diadelphous, as in pea, or into more than two bundle, polyadelphous, as in citrus. They there may be a variation in the length of filamentous within a flower, as in salvia and mustard. 5.5.1.4 Gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower as and is made up of one or more carpel. A carpel consists of three parts, mainly stigma, style, An ovary. Ovary is the enlarged basal part on which lies the elongated tube. The style, the style connects the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is usually at the tip of the style and is the receptive surface for pollen grain. Each ovary bears one or more ovule attached to a flattened cushion-like placenta. When more than one carpel is present, they may be free, as in lotus and rose, and are called apocarpus. They are termed syncarpus when carpel are fused, as in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovule develop into seed and the ovary mature into a fruit. Placentation. The arrangement of a ovule within the ovary is known as placentation. The placentation are of different type, namely marginal, axial, parietal, basal, central, and free central. In marginal placentation, the placenta form a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovule are borne on the ridge, forming two rows, as in P. When the placenta is axial and the ovule are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, the placentation is said to be axial, as in China rose, tomato, and lemon. In parietal placentation, the ovule develop on the inner wall of the ovary or the peripheral part. Ovary is one-chambered, but it become two-chambered due to the formation of false septum. Example mustard and argemone. When the ovule are borne on central axis and septa are absent, as in dianthus and primrose, the placentation is called free central. In basal placentation, the placenta develop at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, as in sunflower marigold. 5.6. The fruit. The fruit is characteristic feature of flowering plants. It is a mature or ripened ovary developed after fertilization. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, it is called parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a wall or pericarp and seed. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into the outer epicarp, the middle mesocarp, and the inner endocarp. In mango and coconut, the fruit is known as drupe. They develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries and are one-seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, a middle fleshy edible mesocarp, and an inner stony hard endocarp. In coconut, which is also a drupe, the mesocarp is fibrous. 5.7. The seed. The ovule after fertilization develop into a seed. A seed is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. The embryo is of made up of radicle, the embryonal axis, and one, as in wheat, maize, or two cotyledons, as in gram and pea. 5.7.1. Structure of a dicotyledonous seed. The outermost covering of a seed is the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers, the outer testa and the inner tegmen. The hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the developing seed were attached to a fruit. Above the hilum is a small pore called micropyle. Within the seed is the embryo consisting of the embryonal axis and two cotyledons. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reserve food material. At the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radicle and the plumule. In some seeds such as castor, the endosperm form as a result of double fertilization. It is a food storing tissue and called endospermic seed. In plants such as bean, gram, and pea, the endosperms is not present in matured seed, and such seeds are called non-endospermous. 5.7.2 Structure of monocotyledonous seed. Generally, monocotyledonous seed are endospermic, but some, as in orchid, are non-endospermic. In the seed of cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous and generally fused with the fruit wall. The endosperm is bulky and stores food. The outer covering of endosperm separate the embryo by a proteinaceous layer called aileron layer. The embryo is called and small and situated in a groove at one end of the endosperm. In it consists of one large and seed-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum and a short axis with a plumule and a radicle. The plumule and radicle are enclosed in seed which are called coleopatile and coleorhiza respectively. फैमिली जो प्लांट फैमिली के बारे में है वो हम छोड़ रहे हैं क्योंकि मेरे हिसाब से मतलब इसको देख के समझना क्योंकि स्ट्रक्चर पढ़ने हैं एंड सिंबल्स पढ़ने हैं तो वो मेरे हिसाब से ऐसा होगा कि मतलब आप देख के पढ़े तो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा मेरे लिए अगर आप बोलें कि नहीं मुझे चाहिए ही तो हम वो फिर कर सकते हैं या अलग से हम प्लांट फैमिली का कर देंगे बट फॉर नाउ अभी हम वो छोड़ रहे हैं So come to the summary of the morphology of flowering plant. Flowering plant exhibit enormous variation in shape, size, structure, mode of nutrition, lifespan, habit, and habitat. They have well-developed root and shoot system. Root system is either taproot or fibrous. Generally, dicotyledonous plant have a taproot while monocotyledonous plant have fibrous root. The root in some plants get modified for storage of food, mechanical support, and respiration. The shoot system is differentiated into stem, leaves, flower, and fruit. The morphological feature of stem, like the presence of node and internode, multicellular hair, and positively phototrophic nature to help differentiate the stem from root. Leaf is a lateral outgrowth of stem developed exogenously at the node. These are green in colors to perform the function of photosynthesis. Leaf exhibit marked variation in the shape, size, margin, apex, and extent of incision of leaf blade lamina. The flower is a modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction. The flowers are arranged in different type of inflorescences. They exhibit enormous variation in structure, symmetry, position of ovary in relation to other part, arrangement of petal, sepal, ovule, etc. After fertilization, the ovary is modified into fruit and ovule into seed. Seeds either may be monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous. They vary in shape, size, and period of viability. The floral characteristics form the basis of classification and identification of flowering plants. This can be illustrated through semi-technical description of families. Since a flowering plant is described in some definite sequence by using scientific term, the floral features are represented in the summarized form as floral diagram and floral formula. And with this, we are done with this chapter in 30 minutes. तो या मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में अगले चैप्टर के साथ which is anatomy of flowering plant. उसके आगे चैप्टर क्या होंगे या इसके बाद वाले भी चैप्टर आप बता सकते हैं कि कौन से होंगे अभी तक मैं रिकॉर्ड नहीं की हूँ तो बता देंगे तो जो चैप्टर बोलेंगे आप मैं वही रिकॉर्ड कर लूंगी क्या दिक्कत है ओके, सो फॉर नाउ थैंक यू फॉर लिसनिंग दिस, एंड अपने प्रिपरेशन पे ध्यान दीजिए। थैंक यू।